Yo, what's going on, guys? It's J-Mass, and I'm back again with another dope New England adventure. So right now I'm in the city of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which is located right along New Hampshire's seacoast. And I'm really excited because today we're going to be checking out a chain of islands I've personally never been to before. We're going to be checking out the Isles of Shoals. The Isles of Shoals are located 6 miles away from the U.S. coastline, and they're actually shared between 2 U.S. states. New Hampshire has one side and Maine has the other side. Now, to get to the Isles of Shoals, we're going to be taking the Isles of Shoals Steamship company. They're going to depart here in Portsmouth, and they're going to be bringing us to the New Hampshire side first, specifically the island of Star Island. Now, from everything I could understand, the Isles of Shoals has 9 total islands, or at least 9 major islands. Star Island is the most populated touristy island. That's where we're going to be starting. But the largest island in the chain is Appledore Island, which is actually on the Maine side. But I am going to try to get you guys to check out 3 islands with me. From what I could tell, there are 3 islands that are accessible on foot. The other islands are all only accessible by boat, and a lot of them are actually private, but it's still going to be really cool. We're going to check out 3 islands, hopefully today, all on foot, split between 2 states, New Hampshire and Maine. I'm really excited to check it out. So very soon we're going to be taking the steamship via the Isle of Shoals Steamship Company here in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And I'm excited to see what the Isles of Shoals have to offer. Again, I've never been there before. It's going to be really cool, so I'm glad you guys are going to join me on that. And if you guys love exploring, especially up here in New England, I always do that on this channel, so don't forget to subscribe to the J-Mass YouTube channel or follow me on Instagram at JMassOfficial. That's at JMassOfficial. But yeah, let's get right to it. The Isles of Shoals, split between 2 states, New Hampshire on one side, Maine on the other side. Let's go check them out. Alright guys, we are officially on Star Island in the Isles of Shoals, here on the New Hampshire side of the border. The boat ride wasn't too bad. It was a little over an hour. Definitely got choppy on some points, but not too bad of a boat ride. And right now we are 6 miles out from the mainland, right here in the Gulf of Maine, the Atlantic Ocean. And I gotta say, it's gorgeous here. I do apologize for the weather. It's pretty cloudy, a little foggy in some points, but still a really beautiful day. As you can see directly behind me, we got some of the village here on Star Island. That building right over there, that big one, is actually the Oceanic, a massive 19th century hotel. Many people come here to stay there. But yeah, we're gonna walk around the village a bit, Star Island as a whole, and see if we can get to some of the other islands. Very briefly, I will give you guys a quick voiceover of what we're looking at here with the Isles of Shoals. I'll just show you a map of each island, where I am, what we're going to be seeing, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll see that map and then we'll just explore the Isles of Shoals. So as you guys can see, the Isles of Shoals are a series of islands of many different shapes and sizes located 6 miles off the coast, directly within the Gulf of Maine. And you can see that the New Hampshire-Maine state border runs between 2 of the islands, Star Island on the New Hampshire side and Cedar Island on the Maine side. Now, all of the islands on the New Hampshire side are located within the town of Rye, New Hampshire, and all of the islands on the Maine side are located within the town of Kittery, Maine. And you'll also notice that while most of the islands within the Isles of Shoals are completely disconnected, only accessible by boat, a few of them are actually connected by a thin strip of jetties. accessible by foot. Star Island, Cedar Island, Smuttynose Island, and the very small Malaga Island can all be walked across on foot. Now, most of the islands within the Isles of Shoals are private or only accessible for certain things like marine research and wildlife preservation. But Star Island, where I ended up coming from, is definitely the most populated and touristy of all the islands. That's where most of the stuff is. But anyways, I did just want to give you guys this aerial view of the Isles of Shoals. It's a really cool set of islands, and we're going to get exploring and see what it has to offer. So if you guys take a look directly in front of me, right over there, that's Appledore Island, which is on the main side of the Isles of Shoals. We won't be able to get over there today because, as I showed you, it is a disconnected island. You can only access it via boat, but still pretty cool. Just want to show you guys. You'll see that there's a pretty tall building on that island. That's the fire control tower. And Appledore Island is mostly comprised of marine research laboratories. I believe they're jointly owned by Cornell University and the University of New Hampshire. So lots of research laboratories over there. And of course, this is Star Island, where we currently are. Right over there is the ship I took to get here from Portsmouth. And then the gorgeous village here on Star Island. I gotta say, really scenic place, pretty beautiful. So right in front of me is the Oceanic Hotel, the primary hotel here on Star Island, and definitely the most popular tourist attraction. I saw tourists from all over the country coming to stay here. The Oceanic Hotel was established all the way back in 1873, and it's considered by many to be the last of the grand hotels. Now, interesting fact about Star Island, it's entirely in the town of Rye, New Hampshire, but that wasn't always the case. It actually used to be its own township known as Gosport. Gosport was established in 1715, and it dissolved in 1876. But you'll see remnants of the name Gosport all throughout Star Island because that's what the town was once known as. So this is a view of much of the village here on Star Island. As I said, this once used to be part of the township of Gosport, New Hampshire. Today, part of Rye, though. Now, most of the island today is actually owned by the Star Island Corporation, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a religious corporation. And this right here is the 200-year-old Gosport Chapel. You can see the beautiful stone architecture, the steeple. Pretty cool historic building, and let's go take a look inside. I don't think services are held here anymore. I believe this is just, a piece of history. They might be, I could be wrong, but still really cool here inside the well over 200-year-old Gosport Chapel on Star Island. Really cool. You can see they actually got some Bibles on the pews right here. Really cool building. I like it. It's pretty modest, but still a cool piece of history. So right now I'm just kind of roaming around the village right here. A lot of buildings. I was kind of thinking to myself, as I'm walking around, this really gives me like Cape Cod vibes. Like this really reminds me of like, a town you would see on the Cape or Martha's Vineyard. But again, really gorgeous here, really beautiful. Even despite the overcast weather, I do think this is a gorgeous summer destination. Star Island, really cool. So very shortly, we're gonna be leaving the village proper and just, see what's going on the rest of the island. I know there's a few historic burial grounds and cemeteries, some tombstones, memorials, and then I really want to show you guys the border between New Hampshire and Maine, which is actually on a jetty that connects two of the islands. So really excited to check that out. But yeah, let's get going. Let's see what else the Isles of Shoals have to offer. So you guys might notice a very tall obelisk out in the distance. Well, that's the Tucke Monument, which is considered to be the tallest gravestone in the state of New Hampshire at 46.5 feet tall. Now, the Tucke Monument is basically a burial ground for Reverend John Tucke, who lived and died on the Isles of Shoals. His death was in 1773. And as I mentioned, this thing is very tall, 46.5 feet tall to be exact, the tallest gravestone in New Hampshire. Let's go check it out, see what's going on at this place. Heading between this overgrowth. Again, very gorgeous island. Lots to see and do. A lot of natural beauty. Here it is, the Tucke Monument. Pretty damn tall. Kind of reminds me of the, what's it called? I'm blanking on the name right now. The Bunker Hill Monument. Yeah, check this out. If you guys can't read it, I'll do a little bit of narration. Underneath are the remains of the Reverend John Tucke. He graduated at Harvard College in 1723, was ordained here July 26, 1732, and died late in August 1773. So this guy was a reverend, a Harvard graduate, and from what I read, a slave owner. So not a very good guy. Apparently he actually owned a slave while on the Isles of Shoals. But still, the monument itself is pretty cool. And it looks like there's also a tombstone right here. It said he was buried underneath this. This, I'm not sure though what this is for. It does look like it has an inscription on here, but I can't really read it. It's faded away with time, covered in lichen, but it does look like this is another tombstone. I know I mentioned this briefly, but there are a lot of old and historic cemeteries on this island. Well, not even just Star Island. Star Island does have a few burial grounds, but the Isles of Shoals itself have a lot. What is this? The Star Island Solar Array. Huh. I do remember seeing this on Google Maps. Looks like they have a lot of solar panels right here. You know, got some green energy going on. You'll love to see it. And of course, right here, the Tucke Monument with some of the village behind it. Actually, a really cool scene. So far, loving this place. So if you guys take a look right out in the distance, right over here, you'll notice a lighthouse on a very small island. That's the White Island Lighthouse, located on the namesake White Island. It was built in 1859, and it's actually the second lighthouse that was over there. There was an original from 1820, but the current lighthouse stands at 58 feet tall and pretty much serves as the primary lighthouse for the Isles of Shoals. And you'll probably hear all of the seagulls in the background. I heard that it's seagull nesting season, so there's a lot of seagulls around the islands. Pretty loud, but pretty cool. Again, very scenic area. Okay, so I just found another old cemetery right here. And when I first came here, I was very confused. So I took a look at this gravestone, and you'll see that all three of the names listed are very young. All three of these people, Jesse, Millie, and Mitty, died in 1863, ages 2, 4, and 7, respectively. And then you have the three gravestones right here. Now, I was curious at first, like, why are they all so young and in the same year? Well, apparently these were the Bibe sisters. They all died the same year, very young, and it was a major tragedy that struck the Isles of Shoals. 3 young deaths of 3 sisters, all in the same year. Very sad, but a pretty cool old cemetery. Kind of hidden in this grove right here. Damn, look at this view, guys. Got the village right in front of us. You can see the Tucke Monument, the Gosport Chapel. You can get a glimpse of the Oceanic Hotel and the solar panel farm. Absolutely gorgeous here on Star Island. Very beautiful. Just wanted to show you guys that view. But over here is a pretty cool historic monument. This is the John Smith Memorial. If you don't know, John Smith is actually a famous English explorer from the 17th century, and he was the one who named New England. So New England is of his doing, the namesake, and he was also the very first European to map out New England. The other cool thing is he actually discovered the Isles of Shoals in 1614, which was the first recorded European discovery of the Isles of Shoals, although back then he named it Smith's Isles. It only got the name Isles of Shoals many years later, but when he first discovered it in 1614, it was Smith's Isles. Now, this isn't his burial ground or anything. He's actually buried in England. This is just a memorial dedicated to John Smith. Although, I don't think the seagulls really like this memorial, as you can see. Pretty cool though. Check out glimpses of the ocean right over there, the Gulf of Maine. And I'll just give you guys a panoramic view of the island. Honestly, it's not that big of an island. You can probably walk around the whole thing in like 20-25 minutes. But as I said, there are a few other islands I want to check out. I think after this, we might head over to them. But yeah, I just want to show you this, the John Smith Memorial. Oh, and you can see the White Island lighthouse over there too. Lots of history here, surprisingly. Very cool. So as I mentioned throughout the video, the Isles of Shoals are split between two states, New Hampshire and Maine. And for the entire video so far, we've been on the New Hampshire side, specifically Star Island. But right now I'm walking out on a very rocky jetty, and we're gonna be crossing the border very shortly. This is actually where the border is between New Hampshire and Maine. We're gonna be crossing from New Hampshire into Maine on this very rocky strip of land in the Gulf of Maine. Pretty cool. So we're actually heading to Cedar Island, which is located in the town of Kittery, Maine. I believe Cedar Island is a private island, so I don't know how much of that we're actually going to be able to see, but I am going to try to make my way over there, just check it out. I believe there are a few cemeteries we can look at, but very shortly we're going to be crossing the border. I'll let you guys know once we hit it. I think it should be any minute now. We'll be in Maine. I believe we're still technically in New Hampshire at the moment. Okay, I think this is it right here. I believe this is the border between Maine and New Hampshire on the Isles of Shoals. We just went from Star Island back there, that's Star Island. And this right over here is Cedar Island. I don't know, I find that really cool. If you guys don't know, I'm a huge geography nerd. I love borders and, you know, political maps, stuff like that. So it's really cool, you know, whenever you get like interesting borders like this, a border shared, or an island shared between two states, the border going right between the rocky jetty. I don't know, pretty cool. But let's go check out Cedar Island to see what's going on. Okay guys, so this right over here is Cedar Island, entirely in the town of Kittery, Maine. But unfortunately, as I was making my way over here, I did notice the entire perimeter of the island was covered in private property signs. So I did mention this was a private island. I didn't think they would be that strict about it, but I guess they are. So I don't want to get caught trespassing. I'm not going to enter Cedar Island, but I did want to show you while I was here. I'm actually standing on a very tall rock right now, right on top of this jetty. That over there, of course, is Star Island, where I came from. Now, this right here is the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, more specifically the Gulf of Maine. And it's kind of funny, you know, over here, it's actually pretty calm. You know, the water is not too bad. But over here, the sea is super rough. I wonder why, you know? Because this entire thing is the Atlantic Ocean. Oh, look at this wave coming in. Sheesh. Pretty cool. Yeah, I just want to show you guys that though. I did want to get on a Cedar Island, but unfortunately I don't think I can. At the very beginning of the video, I did mention I wanted to show you guys 3 islands. The other one was Smuttynose Island, also located in Maine. Won't be able to make it over there, but there was a really cool historic fact I want to tell you about Smuttynose Island, so I'll tell you about that very shortly as we make our way back over to Star Island. And of course, in the distance, you can see Appledore Island right over there. The fire control tower in the distance. Pretty cool. Okay guys, so I'm heading back into the state of New Hampshire, leaving the state of Maine right now. Kind of sucks we weren't able to get into Cedar Island, but it's all right, you know, still pretty cool. So we're just gonna make our way back over to Star Island, and while I do that and cross this very rocky jetty, I do want to tell you about the crazy history of Smuttynose Island. The thing that island is most well known for are a series of grisly murders that actually occurred there. So back in 1873, there were 3 Norwegian immigrant women who lived there. 2 of them were actually murdered by this guy named Louis Wagner, Louis H.F. Wagner more specifically. He killed both of them in 1873. One of the Norwegian women escaped, but the other 2 were killed. I believe one was strangled and one was murdered with an axe. Could be wrong on that, but yeah, that happened on Smuttynose Island. It was a national sensation at the time. And obviously Wagner was found guilty of the murder because he did it. And he was actually hanged, executed. So that happened on Smuttynose Island. Pretty crazy. 2 grisly murders of 2 Norwegian immigrant women. Kind of fucked up, but you know, that's what happened on Smuttynose Island. Okay, we're officially back on Star Island in Rye, New Hampshire. I do want to show you really quick. So that's where we would have gone, Cedar Island. Of course, we had to cross these rocks here. That's that jetty that connects Star Island and Cedar Island. And then right over there, there's actually another jetty that connects Cedar Island with Smuttynose Island. I'll actually zoom in really quick so you can see that. So Smuttynose, Cedar, and Star are all connected by a series of rocky outstretches. Pretty cool. But I do want to see what this building is right here. I don't know if we can go inside, not sure what it is. A lot of the buildings on Star Island are open to the public. There are a few that are private. Ooh, look at this. This is kind of cool. Like some sort of quarry or pond. It definitely looks man-made though. You can see like there's brick and stone, but this is kind of cool. Nice little pond right there. Yeah, let's see what this building is. Oh, it actually looks like there's another pond over here too. Pretty scenic. The monument right over there. That thing really does tower over the whole island. Okay, this is the art barn. I do remember reading about this. I think a lot of artists come to the Isles of Shoals for sculpting and painting. It does look like it's closed right now, but I do remember reading about that, the art barn. Pretty cool. Check this out right here, Memorial Courtyard. Kind of curious what this is. Doesn't look like a cemetery or anything, just some sort of little garden or gathering place. I wonder if people had to contribute to this, you know, like financially to get their names on these rocks. Pretty cool though. It looks like there's a star in the middle. And as I mentioned, a bunch of different names on these rocks. I don't really know the significance of this. I don't know if these are like donors to the island or people who have some sort of historical significance. I don't know. Pretty cool though. And of course, here's some of the other buildings on Star Island. A lot of these, though, I believe are private residents. Pretty cool. Check this out, guys. Got a historic cemetery right here. Gonna see if we can get in and check out some of these gravestones. But this is one of many cemeteries on the Isles of Shoals. It's kind of crazy, like how many of these there are. If you go on Google Maps, you'll see a ton of cemeteries pop up. But let's see if we can figure out which one this is. Caswell Cemetery. Interesting. Located right nearby the Oceanic Hotel. And this must be named after the primary family because it looks like some of these names are Mary Caswell, John Caswell. Yeah, this is all the Caswell family. Pretty cool. When are these dated? Died 1825. I think that says died 1837 or 1817. So this is a 19th century cemetery here on Star Island. Died 1831, died 1836. So it looks like this is mostly the Caswell family, many of whom died in the 1800s. I don't know, pretty cool though. I always like seeing old historic cemeteries like this. And the funny thing too is like most of the cemeteries we've checked out today have been like hidden in the brush of the island. This one's like right out on the front lawn. I don't know, kind of interesting. So one historic figure we have yet to discuss who is pretty integral to the Isles of Shoals history is Celia Thaxter. Now Celia Thaxter is considered by many to be one of the most important female poets of the 19th century. And she actually spent most of her life here in the Isles of Shoals, specifically on Appledore Island. Now, obviously, we couldn't make it to Appledore Island today. The only way to get there is by boat, and I couldn't find a boat that goes there. But I did want to tell you guys about her life because it's pretty important, and you see her name throughout the island. So, Celia Thaxter was born in Portsmouth, New Hampshire in 1835, but she died on Appledore Island in 1894. She wrote a plethora of poems, many of which were pretty important and famous of its time. And like I said, many scholars consider her to be one of the important female voices of the 19th century, especially in poetry. A lot of her poems actually revolved around life on the shoals, especially the Atlantic Ocean and all that stuff. Kind of cool. And another interesting thing about her is that while she was married to a man, many scholars actually think she might have been a lesbian, or at least a closeted one. Again, this was the 19th century. LGBT rights weren't really at the forefront. They weren't treated with respect, but a lot of people say Celia Thaxter was one of the premier and earliest lesbian poets of the 1800s. Kind of cool. But yeah, she lived most of her life here in the Isles of Shoals, especially on Appledore Island, and just figured I'd, give her a quick shout out. Shout out Celia Thaxter. Okay guys, it's nearing the end of our trip, and very soon I'm going to be taking the steamship back to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Actually, looks like the ship's already come in. I just got a few more minutes before I have to go, but I did just want to explore this last part of Star Island I haven't seen yet. Though I gotta say, really cool place. I'm really digging the Isles of Shoals. I know we weren't able to go to all the islands. I mean, there's 9 total. We were really only on 1.5. I'm not really counting Cedar Island, but still really gorgeous place. I gotta say, absolutely beautiful. The nature is stunning. The history is fascinating. And it just looks like a quaint little seaside village, you know what I mean? Oh, another thing that was kind of cool. That building right over there is actually a marine institute as well. And they have a touch tank with starfish, scallops, hermit crabs, regular crabs, lobsters. It's kind of cool. I didn't really want to film in there because there were a bunch of kids, but still really cool. If you do come here, definitely check that out. Lots of interesting aquatic creatures in there. Hey, thank you guys for joining me. I've been J-Mass as always, and this has been another dope New England adventure. So today we checked out the Isles of Shoals, a chain of islands that's split between 2 states, New Hampshire and Maine. We were mostly on the New Hampshire side today. We were really only in Maine for a couple minutes, but still really cool to check out. I loved it. Star Island was absolutely gorgeous. A lot of history, a lot of beautiful natural scenery. Of course, the ocean was just glistening. It was pretty cloudy this morning, but the sky has seemed to open up a little bit. There were some blue skies here and there, and the temperature's been great. So yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. But anyways, if you guys ever make it up to the sea coast of New Hampshire, definitely make a stop in the Isles of Shoals. Well worth the visit. Really cool area. And anyways, guys, my name is J-Mass. If you love travel and exploration, especially across New England, don't forget to subscribe to the channel because I'm always doing that, or follow me on Instagram at JMassOfficial. That's at JMassOfficial. But yeah, that's about it. Star Island here in the Isles of Shoals, originally known as Gosport. Now it's just part of Rye, New Hampshire. Pretty cool place. Yeah, Isles of Shoals, Maine, New Hampshire. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.